Last time, we beat both the Fuyuki and Orleans Singularities in Fate's Grand Order without touching the Gacha system, over-leveling, or using non-story support. If this is your first time watching this series, I highly recommend you go back and check the previous video for context, or you can read the description for a better explanation of the rules. Today, we'll be tackling the two horniest singularities in Fate's Grand Order, Septem and Okeanos. So buckle your seatbelts and grab your tissues, this is about to be bumpy in all the wrong ways possible. We start by picking a new welfare. We're short an archer, so I took Oda Nobunaga. Pretty simple. Oda isn't great, but she certainly is one of the archers of all time. Next, while I was messing around in the quest tab, the advanced quests caught my attention. I never really paid them any mind before, so I couldn't exactly tell if the CE they gave was any good gameplay wise. So I attempted one out of curiosity. Spoiler alert, I got destroyed. So I just dipped. And if you're wondering, no, the CEs they give are just for farming. So winning the battle would have been useless anyways. With nothing else to do, we hop into the Septem Singularity. We ray-shift in and spawn in a wide grassland where a great battle between two armies is taking place. One of those armies being led by a certain Red Saber. So we jump into the assist. The first battle is nothing, just some Roman soldiers. Then we meet Emperor Nero. I fucking love Nero. In all shapes, in all forms, she's one of my favorite Fate servants of all time, and it's such a shame that we won't ever be able to get her on this account. Please Lazon, please, give us Santa Nero. She's literally the perfect candidate for that, we've been begging for this for years. Either way, we do the usual meet and greet, learn that the soldiers we're fighting belong to an alliance of emperors that created their own united empire. Then another battle ensues. Same as the first one, nothing to worry about. Caligula shows up, and bro is already lusting over his own niece. Come on man, who starts a conversation like that? I just sat down. Servants battle ensues, we beat the Alabama man up so bad he runs away, and Nero officially introduces herself as the 5th Emperor of Rome. And as the real deal, not a servant. She's the living, breathing Nero. Neat. Okay, next node gives us Nero as a friend support and... Yeah, we're not even 2 singularities in and the game is already trying to sabotage us. What do you mean Nero is only level 26? Are you kidding me? I checked the wiki and yeah, she's the highest level friend support you can have access to this entire singularity. Meaning that we can't use any of our servants that we leveled up at the end of France, which gave us a level 30 Siegfried. Well, at least we have other servants that didn't upgrade yet, and no, I won't take Mash out of the team just because she's level 30 and I can't underlevel her or get another copy or anything. So she's the only exception to this rule. She stays on the front line. Either way, we go to the capital with Nero, where another filler fight takes place. Once again, nothing crazy. Even with our downgrade, we still take them out with ease. Nero takes us to her castle, then appoints us as her generals in the war against the United Empire. But before we can celebrate our previous victory, we are once again interrupted by another failure fight. Nero doesn't join, but that doesn't matter as it is just some more Roman soldiers. Oh? What's that? These are just humans and I should take it easy? Oh money, my guy, relax, I'll take it more than easy. Kyohime really pulling her weight as a berserker made me realize just how weak we really are. If goddamn Kyohime is considered one of my strongest servants so far, yeah, that really says a lot about our strength level. Segue, and we're back to Nero the next day, where we ask to be allowed to go to a place called Mount Etna to connect with the ley line. Nero allows it, and of course the area is full of skeletons and ghosts. Not to worry, Nitrocris makes short work of them. We return later and Nero is already organizing another expedition to a place called Gaon. This time she's coming with. On the way, we are ambushed by some more soldiers who we dispatch with ease. Soon, we arrive at the expedition camp and look who's here! It's Boudica and Spartacus. who after another failure battle challenge us to a fight. They put up a decent resistance and even managed to take out Oda, but ultimately they simply weren't enough of a threat and fell within 9 turns. Mash gets sexually harassed by Boudica, and trust me, it won't even be the last time Mash gets harassed, seeing as the next day begins with us launching an assault on Gao, who is currently ruled by none other than Julius Caesar. This golem crit Nero twice in a row and paid the price for it. This golem gets an erection, then the fight against Caesar begins. Our damage is definitely on the lower side, but it was still manageable, though he did harass Mash once more before he died, both in and out of battle. Upon his defeat, we're shown Levliner freaking out and talking to the rest of the emperors of the United Empire. Oh look, he summoned All Muscle. Hi All Muscle. On the way back to the capital, we hear about a god of the sea and we decide to go investigate. There are a few failure battles that pass without a hitch, then we make it to the island rumored to have this god. Wait a minute. You're no god. You're an orange cube. This goddess-shaped suspicious orange cube told us about some form of treasure in a cave, and we go to investigate. Inside we find skeletons and our first ever Chimera, who immediately crits Kyohime twice on its first ever turn, instantly killing her. Great! Fun fact, did you know that when the Chimera attacks, you can see the snake tail open its mouth to breathe poison? I didn't know that until now. I always assumed it was just the lion breathing and I never really gave it too much attention. Really cool. The Chimera takes out a couple of our servants, but we still manage to kill it without much of a hassle. Exhausted, we go back to the suspiciously goddess-shaped cube, and as it turns out, she set us up to clear the cave for her and open the way for the 2 servants that she summoned with her. Brilliant! Before we can do anything else, Caligula the Mad Lad fucking swims across from the mainland to the island and comes after Nero again. No wonder he's a berserker. You can't possibly be sane and be this down bad for your own niece's pussy. Yeah, that's enough out of you, buddy. Take him to horny jail. The goddess-shaped cube is pleased and tells us the location of the United Empire's capital. How did she find out? Who the fuck knows? With that information in hand, we continue making our way to our own capital, before we are attacked once more. Roman soldiers aside, this attack is led by none other than All Muscle himself. Unluckily for him, he's a lancer, and Nero is a saber. With them defeated, we go back to Rome, where we host a festival to celebrate the retaking of Gao. Nero ends up hitting on Mash as well. I guess my girl can take a break. Before once again we are interrupted. Seems like 2 other generals of Nero, 2 servants, Jinke and Lobu, were being attacked on their way to the capital, and we have to go assist them. It's just a failure battle in the end. Upon defeating the enemies and escorting the 2 generals back to Rome, we see Livliner freaking out again and summoning Shota Iskander. Really, dude? You're going to place your world-ending scheme on the shoulders of a child version of Iskander? And where did Waver even come from, man? Come on, writers, please work with me here. I'm trying to rationalize the story, but you're not making any sense. Either way, there's a time skip, and we are advancing on the capital of the United Empire. We fight a few randoms before we are accosted by an army of undead and a big black guy leading them. Can we talk about how the 2 servants with the darkest skin in the game are either the incarnation of all evils of humanity or an Unga Bunga warlord king who can breathe fire? What did FGO mean by this? In his boss fights, Nero deals some decent damage before she is apparently target locked as everyone decides to utterly destroy her on the first turn. Darius does put up one hell of a fight before he goes down, but it wasn't really close or anything. While we were fighting, apparently Boudica was captured and taken to a nearby fortress. How does the servant get captured? Don't ask me. It's not like they can turn into spirit form and run away or anything. One more filler battle and we're already standing against Shota Iskander and Adult Waver. Nero has a quick chat with the child before deciding he needed to go. As you wish, my queen, the child shall be destroyed. Jokes aside, this fight wasn't too bad. Once Iskander fell, Waver stood no chance. Upon their defeat, we stormed the stronghold where we see none other than Luma! The Holy Impregnator or something, whatever Nero calls him, the founder of the nation. Also, apparently Boudica is now free and is already helping us out. Great writing, 10 out of 10. Nero has her moment of doubt, but nothing that can't be solved by Fujimaro's amazing dialogue. I decide to celebrate this occasion by leveling up Masha's first skill to level 6. Just so we're clear, skills and Noble Phantasm levels aren't affected by the rules, just servant level. Anyways, the next fight is against Luma, and he has 2 pet chimeras. Unfortunately, he's a lancer, and Nero is a saber. Despite spamming his Imperial Privilege skill and using his Noble Phantasm, he still couldn't win. Once defeated, Liv Laner finally confronts us himself, transforming into his demon god form, Floras. The fight that ensues was a DPS check. I didn't have the health to withstand his attacks, but neither did he. He managed to wipe out my entire team, leaving me with just Ushiwaka, but the goat clutched up for me and saved the day with a heroic ending. Now, you might be thinking, that's it, right? We defeated Lev, and we'll take back the Holy Grail, and we'll go back to Chaldea, right? We'll think again, because Altera spawns out of nowhere, finishes off Lev and takes the Grail, before photon raying the entire castle. We managed to survive thanks to Masha's Noble Phantasm, but now Altera was heading straight for Rome to destroy it. So we chase after her, and of course there are wyverns. Lots of wyverns. With the wyverns and the filler out of the way, we finally stand before Altera, ready to protect Rome and end the Singularity. She fucking slaughters us. I barely managed to reduce her HP to 20k before she kills my last servant, causing the first true death of the run. Okay, that's fine. I just have to play better. No, it'll be fine. This time for sure I'll... No. I mean, this time I'll totally... Huh? It actually worked? Huh. I guess it was a skill issue. Oh well. Altera defeated, Grail retrieved, Mash ascended, and Singularity resolved. As a reward for completing this fuckfest, I get myself Santa Quetzalcoatl, and here is a challenge for you guys in the comments section. Imagine that you're talking to someone who has no idea about Fate whatsoever, and try to explain this servant to them. Whoever can do that without making it sound like they belong in an asylum gets a cookie. And while you're there, you may as well subscribe, right? We are literally less than 10 subscribers away from 1,000 at the time of writing this script, which makes me extremely giddy. Anyways, with Queds in hand, we hop, jump and skip onto Okeanos. Apparently, this is where the story starts getting good according to a lot of people, so let's see how accurate that is. Already we spawn on a random pirate ship and hijack it with ease, making the poor sailors take us to an island where we burn to death even more pirates, before we are led to Captain Francis Drake. Now this woman right here, this fine lady, she's the literal GOAT. This entire Singularity, it would have been nearly impossible to clear without her. But first, we needed to defeat her to prove our strength, and...
Oh no! Oh no!
Maybe I should level up Jekyll and Hyde after all? Nah. I open up the wiki instead and realize that the strongest friend support in the Singularity is actually level 50. You know what that means? It's time for some ascensions, baby! Even with that, Drake's damage is still insanely high, being able to take out Kyohime in 2 hits every single time. So it was basically a gamble every single try, hoping she doesn't kill her off before she deals some damage, and surely enough, after a few deaths and a reset, we managed to defeat Drake. Phew! We remember how wild FGO used to be, before Drake reveals that she actually has the Holy Grail. However, it seems this Holy Grail isn't what's actually causing the Singularity, and so we should hunt down the real one. There are a couple of pirate battles with filler dialogue, nothing really interesting. Then we come to a halt on an island where we find none other than Eric Bloodaxe, the Blood Axe King, who is famous for having a bloody axe, and being the owner of the axe that is bloody. For whatever reason, he refuses to attack until the very last turn where he attacked twice. Also, very funny how the pirate's MP has crit star absorption down as a debuff. For many servants, that could actually be viewed as a buff instead. Anyways, Eric runs away after we beat his ass, then using the navigation records on his ship, we head to the next island. At the start of the next node, we see a familiar 3-star archer that I wish I had pulled running away from something or someone, in what seems to be a labyrinth. Then we cut back to filler dialogue and 2 filler battles. We find and establish the ley line connection, then we simply stumble into that very same labyrinth we just saw. How convenient. Some Lamias appear in the next 2 battles, but they're casters and Drake is a rider, so... Also, we beat up a white chimera who proved way less of a threat than you'd expect. The next battle was against Asterios, and it seems like he was going easy on us because he simply kept wasting his turns using skills or attacking much for minuscule damage. And with Ichan and Drake laying down the hurts, he couldn't exactly last very long. Uriale shows herself and we clear up some misunderstandings. Apparently, Asterios was protecting her from some other people who were coming after her for whatever reason. Mush speaks completely out of character at this point of the story, then we decide to just grab Uriale and Asterios to come with us instead. Speaking of whom, the very next node we get a first look at the people who were after Uriale. Yeah, I'll save your eyes the cringe of Mr. Blackbeard. As a character, he's... well... unique to say the least. Back on the island, Asterios disables a bounded field and we have another filler battle on our hands. Honestly, I feel like I should start skipping these in script. You guys let me know if I should actually skip mentioning them in the future. Uriale sings for us, and on the topic of her, who's actually your favorite out of the 3 Gorgon sisters? I think most people prefer Medusa, but Uriale is kind of an interesting character too. Steno is the only one you simply can't like. She has no redeeming qualities whatsoever. We see Blackbeard again in the next node. He's very much still Blackbeard. Then we have our rematch against who else but the one with the bloody axe. The Blood Axe King, Eric Bloodaxe, who despite swinging his bloody axe everywhere and taking out 2 of my servants, still felt like a sack of bricks. Turns out we're not actually the shit though, so we retreat as they hit our ship in the bilge and we start sinking. But Asterios, the Chad that he is, jumps down and carries the ship to shore. How? Don't ask me. I have no idea. Sure, he's definitely strong enough to carry it, but what is he standing on? I guess we'll never know. Next up is... okay, it's all good. This island is practically all filler battles. What happens is that we go wyvern hunting so that we can use their skills to repair the ship. We also meet Artemis and Orion, who join us on the journey. At the end, there is a boss fight with an adult dragon who beats the crap out of the team. But Ichan clutches up towards the end, making him jam so hard he dies of brain damage. With the dragon dead, Drake's pirate crew expresses their admiration for Asterios' strength. No homo, of course. Then we take off to fight Blackbeard. Again, segue, and we're up against Mary Reed and Anne Bonny. They put up a decent fight, but are no match for Ichan's Lumino Caliba. Up next, we had some archers with Blackbeard, so I level up Hector and make him join the fight against his own teammate. I also give Lakshmi Bey some love. In the fight against Blackbeard, he manages to get me down to 2 servants left before Ichan teaches him how to dance, and he goes down just like the way he always wanted. crushed by a woman's ample bosom. Hector reveals that he was an impostor all along and had no allegiance to Blackbeard, taking Euryale and the Grail before making a run for it. His first boss fight was pretty easy. Despite him spamming his stun skill, Lakshmi Bai's resistance to debuffs comes in clutch before she lands the final blow. Still, and because of plot reasons, he manages to disengage and run away with both Euryale and the Grail. Finally, it is revealed who are Hector's real friends, Jason and the Argonauts. Some filler later and we get some info on why Euryale seems to have a target on her forehead. Simply put, there is something about whoever offers a god as a sacrifice to something, getting whatever they want. But my man Hector, you have the Holy Grail. You know, the wish-granting device? Drake even mentions before how she can just wish upon hers to get all the treasure in the world, but she doesn't want to. Why not just wish upon the Grail to do whatever you want? Man, early FGO makes no sense. Anywho, we catch up to Hector, beat his ass again, retrieve Euryale, but not the Grail, then Jason and his merry band of idiots show up. He has Heracles with him, but Asterios keeps him busy while we fight Medea Lily. She's Medea Lily. She literally can't hurt a fly. But Asterios can't keep Heracles occupied forever, and we end up joining fights. Too bad for Heracles though, he's a berserker, and I have a foreigner. The fight ends without a hitch, but Heracles revives, Asterios holds him down, but then Hector kills both of them. Asterios, the Giga Chad, grabs Heracles and tosses both of them into the ocean, buying us enough time to retreat. Rest in peace, King. I level up Nitrocrease to deal with some ghost filler, then we receive a message on an arrow from none other than Atlante? Okay. We go and regroup with Herb, and somehow she remembers France? How? She clearly wasn't summoned by Chaldea, and servants lose their memories when they go back to the Throne of Heroes. So how? She introduces us to David from the Bible, who seems to hold an artifact called the Ark. This thing apparently kills whoever touches it, and is the reason why Jason and the rest wanted Euryale, because if you sacrifice a divinity to it, it will destroy this entire era. But you know, Heracles is technically a divinity, right? I mean, he was born a demigod, but Euryale isn't a full god either. According to the wiki, she's the daughter of a primordial sea god and a sea monster, which basically means that she and Heracles should be on the same level of divinity. So why was Jason of all people looking for her instead of just sacrificing her? We get another one of those crazy lines, this time by Artemis. Then we come up with this brilliant strategy to kill Herc. Let's just make him touch the Ark. We assault the Argo ship from afar, coaxing Heracles to multiple battles. Luckily, we have access to Artemis, who is very sexist. The damage she deals to male enemies is insane, and she basically turns this supposedly scary encounter into a joke. Heracles ends up touching the Ark and fucking dies. Jason freaks out and starts spamming Shadow Servants, then we get a rematch against Hector. This one was very close. Look at this. Lucky for us, the Stolf manages to clutch up for us before we defeat him on the first try. Jason is now cornered with Medea, and she finally reveals to him that the whole sacrifice thingy wouldn't have granted him anything. It would have only destroyed the Singularity and ended the Grand Order. She then shoves the Grail into his rectum and makes him transform into a demon god pillar. It took 4 turns of combat with this thing to make me realize that I was not ready. I withdrew and went back to the drawing board. Deciding enough was enough, I did the gamer lean thingy and locked in. Leveled up all the servants that would be helpful in this fight to the maximum allowed, then gave it another shot. There was an obvious improvement this time, but we still lost. Next attempt went way better. Astolfo managed to land a critical stun, and the RNG god smiled upon me for once, and before long, Phornius bit the dust, and it was just Medea left. We already talked about Medea, she couldn't do a thing as Drake pumped her full of lead. And so, Demon God Pillar defeated, Grail retrieved, Gifts obtained, Singularity resolved. Thank you so much for watching. Leave a like and a comment if you have any suggestions, and subscribe to stay tuned for the next video. Check out my social media, and with that, this was Imaginary Watcher, and I'll see you around.